At this juncture, I now take the singular honor of inviting the Fountain of Honor, the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, to deliver his remarks and officially open the 27th Conference of Speakers and Presiding Officers of the Commonwealth. Kindly please rise up to receive the President.
Thank you so much. Sit down, please. The Right Honorable Speaker, Anita Among, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, and the Right Honorable visiting speakers, the Prime Minister of Uganda, and all the distinguished guests. The gist of my remarks is like a slogan. And the slogan is, down with philosophical, ideological, and strategic shallowness. That is the gist of my statement. I am glad to address you and welcome you to Uganda as speakers of the Commonwealth countries. The Commonwealth countries have a combined population of 2.4 billion people. Soon, we shall also host the NAM, the Non-Aligned Movement, and the group of 77 plus China meetings here in the next few days. Those countries of the two international organizations have a combined population of 6.4 billion people. In those fora, I want to use those occasions as one of the third generation of the anti-colonial resistance fighters of Africa to put our humble ideas to the world. The gist of our ideas could be summed up in the slogan, down with philosophical, ideological, and strategic shallowness, in quotes. The human race has been here for the last 4.5 million years, beginning as Homo sapiens sapiens. These were primates that had a superior brain, a hand that could hold tools and do work, and bipedalism that, unlike the reptiles whose heads are constantly negotiating against obstacles on the ground, frees our heads to see far and think. So we are not like reptiles, we think better because we are bipedal, walk on two legs. It is this Homo sapiens sapien that has been the agent of change and transformation in societies all these millennia. These humans were only in Africa until about 100,000 years ago. That is when groups of humans started leaving Africa for other continents. You can therefore say that all the human race are either Africans, like we the Ugandans, or are former Africans, like those in Americas, Europe, Asia, and the Pacific. So all of you, you are either Africans or former Africans. And I welcome you, all of you. Initially, and up to today, man faced oppression from nature. That was the original problem of man, oppression from nature, by the floods, by the drought, diseases, etc. The humans, unlike the other animals, however, did not face, these other animals also face the same. The elephants, the what, they all suffer from the adverse phenomena of nature. The humans, unlike the other animals, however, did not face this problem of oppression of man by nature passively. This is the difference between man and the other animals. Man, using his ability to use his superior brain to think and his hands to work, strived to find solutions to the challenges thrown to him by nature. He started making tools to help him do work, the stone tools, the iron tools, until today, when he has got tractors, bulldozers, etc. These are all tools made by man to help him solve the problems he was facing. 1.5 million years ago, he invented fire, which enabled the human race to descend from the trees and become cave dwellers. The caves were more comfortable than the trees. They were warmer, rain-free, and safer. It is therefore this change in science and technology that is always the primer. This word primer, we use it in the army to mean a provocator, initial provocator. You can call it the initiator, the primer of social economic transformation. However, along the way, another oppression to man added itself. The original problem of man was oppression by nature. But along the way, another form of oppression added itself. That was oppression of man by fellow men. What is the form of this oppression? It is in the form of the wars of aggression. To kunyaga in our language means to loot. To kunyaga cattle and capture women, enslave, make bahuku, slaves, displace people, ethnic cleansing, colonize, or simply dominate indirectly, even if one does not physically occupy the other person's territory, i.e. neocolonialism and semi-colonialism. Why oppress? It is because of greed. Yet this oppression of man by fellow men is totally unnecessary and is also satanic and pagan. Indeed, St. Paul, in the book of the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 7, verse 26, writes, and this is in quotes, "And he," meaning God, "has made from one blood every nation of men," you former Africans, all of you, you're from one group, "on all the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings, so that they should seek the Lord." This is what St. Paul says, that we are all from one source, but we were given our lands, each one was given his area and the boundaries thereof. Therefore, for true believers, imperialism and colonialism and expansionism by force were criminal and satanic. The present crisis we have in the Middle East could be traced back to Roman imperialism, when at Masada, they dispersed the Jews. Those who know that history know what happened, how the Jews rose up against the Romans and they were dispersed. This Masada was AD 70. AD 70. That's when I think it happened, if my history is still good. Up to now, we are dealing with the mistake of the Romans. You can imagine. What were the Romans doing in the Middle East? The present crisis, the first white man to come through our areas was Huntington Speke. He was an army officer from Britain, and his friend Grant in 1862. Here we had never seen any black person, any non-black person until 1851, when an Arab called Ibrahim came here. That was the first non-black person our people ever saw. And they thought he had no skin. They had never seen, they thought he had no skin. Although Grant and Speke were sometimes delayed by some greedy chiefs, they managed to go by land from Bagamoyo in Tanzania all the way to Alexandria in Egypt. These two British explorers went through here, just two of them, peacefully, all the way from Tanzania up to Alexandria in Egypt. Speke himself writes in his book, The Discovery of the Source of the Nile, on pages 94, 95, how the Baganda, one of our groups here, at Mtesa's court, at Mtesa's palace, Mtesa was one of our kings here, were admiring the items of trade he had brought, textiles, etc., by exclaiming. He writes wrongly because he writes in our language. He says that the people were saying irungi, irungi, meaning chirungi. It is good. So the people were appreciating the products which Speke came with, some of the products like textiles and so on. In Karagwe is in Tanzania, the benevolent and gentle giant king, Rumanyika, gave so many gifts to these strangers, milk, beef, millet, so much that they hardly used any of their own resources when they were there. It was therefore possible to develop symbiotic relationships at that early stage among free peoples of different lands and continents. What was colonialism and imperialism then for? What was the historical role of imperialism and colonialism? It was for greed and ignorance. We had to have vicious anti-colonial wars in India, the mutiny of 1857, the wars in Vietnam, China, Kenya, the Mau Mau, in Mozambique, Angola, Zimbabwe, Namibia, South Africa, Guinea-Bissau, to solve this problem now. Instead of coming like Speke, who came to explore and to trade, and he went peacefully all the way. Now, when colonialism came, we had now to fight colonialism. This is not talk of the most destructive inter-imperialist wars, the First and the Second World Wars. Those wars among Europeans, Germans, British, what have you, all those wars in which we were involved. I am called Museveni. My name is Museveni because our parents, the word Museveni is a corruption of the English word seven. Now, the 7th Regiment of the British Army was where many of the Ugandans served. So in their Bantu way, Bantu is our language, they said, Aba Seveni, the people of the seventh. That's how, so Museveni means one colonial soldier. So I'm one of those colonial soldiers. Because I was born in 1944, when the first veterans of that colonial, those intercolonial wars were coming back. When the dangerous illusion of empires was defeated, this is now how I come to the Commonwealth. Because when you talk of the Commonwealth, you must talk about it thoroughly and seriously, not just talk. When the dangerous illusion of empires was defeated, the elders of the countries that had been part of the British Empire decided not to throw away completely some aspects we had got from the British. The English language. The English language is a captured property. I now speak it. If I want to insult everybody, I use English. But it was brought by the British and we captured it here and kept it. And it's good because you can, when I met Her Majesty, the Queen, on one of the occasions, I told her that the Commonwealth is one of the international meetings where I go and I don't have to have earphones to translate for me. I speak directly, although we speak in different accents, but you can hear what I'm saying. This is a very big advantage. 2.4 billion people using one language, understanding one language, which we got as a result of that temporary colonial interaction. The concept of representative government, which our daughter, Anita Mungu, was telling you about, the MPs here. For us, we take representation very seriously. We have got how many constituencies? How many are they? The constituencies. Muala, you know or you don't know? How many constituencies? 3 what? Clark. Huh? 314. The constituencies are 314. So, if we were to do like they do in many countries, to only have constituencies, how many women do we have now who came from constituencies? They are 14 or what? Huh? 14. Now you can hear. The constituencies are 314, where everybody competes. But out of the 314, only 14 are women who defeated men and everybody else. Now, in our long struggle for democracy, we didn't agree that just constituency representation is enough. Because if it was enough, why is it that the women, who are 51% of our population, only bring out 14 women out of 314 opportunities? That's why we said, in addition to the constituency members of parliament, let also have special seats for women. From each district, the districts are, I think they're 130 something now. So that's how you get that big number of women. Then we have the seats for workers, factory workers. We have delegates for youth, and so on. So this concept of representative government, the British brought it to us, and we liked it and expanded it. Separation of powers, mutually beneficial economic interactions, trading together. So therefore, although we resisted the nonsense of imperialism, which we think is a backward practice, satanic, St. Paul calls it pagan. When we defeated colonialism, we said no, but some good things have come from these people. Let's keep them and let's stay together now as equal people, no longer as colonized and colonizer, but as brothers and sisters. This is how the Commonwealth comes. Hence, the Commonwealth. What was problematic could be converted into something beneficial. In the United Kingdom right now and for some time, there is an active branch of my tribe comprised of our former British teachers and their offsprings. I have my sub-tribe in UK. When I go there, I meet them. They are organized. The current chairperson of our branch is one of the daughters of our teacher, Mwalimu Sullivan, that was teaching us economics. The members of my tribal branch include Mr. Rema, our chemistry teacher, who taught so many of the present medical doctors that we have in Uganda, because many of the medical doctors study chemistry, and this Mr. Rema taught many of them who went through that area. Another member of our branch in the UK is Mr. Reeves, who was our organizer when I was an actor of modest fame in the play of The Murder in the Cathedral by Robert Bolt. So I was some sort of actor also. Those interactions between the colonizer and the colonized, although negative for most of the time, had also their positive sides that should be built on for mutual benefit. The problem, however, is the persistent philosophical, ideological, strategic shallowness and chauvinism of so many actors. This philosophical, ideological, and strategic shallowness ignores the progress of the human race in taming the natural phenomena that harm man and life, and taming nature to improve the quality of human livelihood. The invention of fire 1.5 million years ago, the invention of iron, the invention of agriculture for crops and then for livestock, the steam engine, electricity, the railway, the automobiles, the aircraft, automation of factories, vaccines, AI and artificial intelligence, etc., have shown that the quality of life of man can be improved greatly and exponentially by those human innovations, irrespective of the social systems they live under. Instead of using this human progress for the benefit of all, some actors, out of greed and philosophical, ideological, and strategic shallowness, miscalculate and seek to monopolize knowledge and also use knowledge to oppress others. Example, the iron tools were used for oppression, the gunpowder, the aircraft, the nuclear weapons, the rockets, etc., were used for the same. The greed is a miscalculation. Because if you try to use knowledge to oppress others, they also strive to acquire knowledge to catch up with you and defeat you. It's such a waste of time. Why do you want to oppress me? Because I will counter-organize. This is why empires collapsed, all of them without exception. There's no empire which has ever survived. You can recount all of them because they are essentially evil. Empires are evil. When Huntington Speke came here in 1862, Africans in this area did not know much about gunpowder. When Huntington Speke here, we didn't know about gunpowder. He's the one who came with gunpowder. Indeed, by 1900, the whole of Africa had been colonized because of gunpowder, except for Ethiopia. By 1994, the last European-controlled country in Africa, South Africa, had been liberated by the gunpowder of the Africans. So Africans are now to acquire gunpowder to chase the invaders. And the last one to be chased were the whites, the white domination in South Africa, 1994. A whole century had been wasted on account of promoting parasitism instead of symbiosis. A whole century from 1860s to 1994, fighting. In the last 64 years, ever since 1960, our movement, initiated by students, has been advocating for symbiosis instead of parasitism for actors within Uganda and outside. Let us concentrate on utilizing the progress of man in the struggle against oppression of man by nature, rather than using that progress in science and technology for parasitism. Let us expunge all ideas of chauvinism of identity, religion, tribes, race, class, social class. If you think you are right, no, what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. This is one of the English proverbs. What is good for the goose is also good for the gander. What is good for you is good for everybody. If you want freedom, if you value freedom, then you should value the freedom of everybody. If you value independence, if you value dignity, then you must respect the dignity of everybody. Stop manipulations and lectures to the societies that are different from yours. If you think you are right, influence people by example. If you think you are right, influence people by example. In the book of Matthew, you know here we take Christians a bit seriously. So we believe in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16, it says, "Let your light so shine before men that they see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." That's what it says. It doesn't say lecture people, do that. No, you do good things. Then the people will see that what you believe is good, and they will copy you voluntarily. With this posture, the world will be peaceful and the progress will be rapid. The Pope failed to maintain Catholicism over Europe by force in spite of the wasteful 30 years war and the Spanish Armada of 1588. You know, when Henry VIII of UK wanted to marry another woman, and then the Pope tried to dictate, and then there was a split. Then instead of saying, okay, if you want to live Catholicism, you are free, the Pope tried to impose Catholicism, to maintain dominance of Catholicism in Europe by force. What was the result? 30 years war. The Spanish Armada. And he failed. He couldn't. He failed. Metternich of Austria-Hungary failed to stop the rise of capitalism and bourgeois ideology that had been started by the French Revolution in 1789. This man, Metternich, was a feudalist. So he saw the French Revolution as a threat. Then he thought he would stop it by war. And what was the result? Big problems for Europe. The Napoleonic Wars. The 14 intervention powers in Russia, when Russians took over, Russia was taken over by communists. Some countries wanted to stop communism by force, and they intervened. The 14 intervention powers in Russia failed to stop the spread of communism. Why fight ideas? They are beneficial. Adam Smith helped us by clarifying the ideas of the free market in his book, The Source of the Wealth of Nations of 1776, exposing the mistakes of the physiocrats and the bullionists. The former believed that agriculture is the only source of value, and the latter believed gold was the source of wealth. And Adam Smith helped the world greatly, and Europe in particular. Although the ideas of Adam Smith helped the free market by clarifying the role of specialization, division of labor, free enterprise, and exchange, they had not, and maybe could not have done so, foreseen the limitation of their ideology when it came to aggregate demand and the role to be played by the state. That is how Maynard Keynes comes in after the capitalist crash of 1929. Yet Karl Marx had pointed out the importance of central planning. Some years before, in his manifesto of 1848. All these ideas about society, especially wealth creation, add something, although they may overlook something else. We, the calm and greedy and development-minded people, have benefited from all these different and sometimes contradictory ideas. That is how we have been able to turn a very bad situation in Uganda into a positive one. I commend this approach to the Commonwealth, and it is my honor to declare opened? To declare open yes. the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, on behalf of the speakers and the presiding officers who are present here, I want to extend our gratitude to you for delivering an inspiring and an insightful speech. Some of us have gotten to know what we didn't know before. Your words will undoubtedly foster a deeper sense of unity and collaboration among us, the speakers and presiding officers of the Commonwealth. We want to thank you again for your wisdom and guidance, and we are forever indebted to you. I want to request my colleagues to give the President a round of applause for his very good speech.